Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. So please continue to pray for me by singing along with me, gesturing, and leaving a like on this video. Let's do it again. I like that swing. Every time when I swing in front of my art projects, I really like how that looks. Let's do it again, and I'll explain what this is. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. So once again, I am really trying to strike while the iron is hot. Lately, I don't know why I'm on such a hot streak with my art. There's no signs of this streak letting down. And so I'm just striking away as much as I can while it's still hot because I know this streak could end suddenly, right? So, for example, in times past, I've had times when the bismuth was hot, and I really tried to strike really hot. You guys remember, right? I poured over a ton of bismuth within the space of 3 4 months. If you guys remember, things were really heated. I was on a big heater, but then I got poisoned and burned myself a couple of times, and so that then I kind of developed a fear of doing that, and then I also had difficulty ordering it. Right, I ran into some problems with my supplier, and I know streaks have a tendency of ending. So right now that I'm on a hot streak with my paintings, I don't want to throw away that streak because I know that it may not last forever. But there's another reason why the streak has been running so hot lately. I've been thinking about making a move on this girl, and I've known her for 8 months, and I keep running into difficulty with making the move. First, I ran into difficulty because I know her from a board game meetup. There's one soft skill I need to learn. I need to learn how to make a move on a girl without causing I can totally accept it if she doesn't like me, right? What I don't want to have happen is to cause any sort of nuclear fallout between mutual friends of ours, right? At a meetup, right? I need to learn how to ask a girl out on a date without uh, any sort of bad news causing fallout. I can totally accept no for an answer. What I don't want to accept is for the rest of the group to kind of take sides on things, right? There's some kind of fallout, right? I have not ever had success trying to make a move on a girl within a circle without, God forbid, if this were a workplace setting, right? And But even at the meetup, I don't want to because I don't have a whole lot of meetups that I agree with, and so that's why for the first 6 months of my time knowing her, I didn't make the move. Now that I have other circles of friends, and now that I live so far away anyway in Apache Junction, I'm more willing to take that risk. Unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, I was at that meetup when something disagreeable happened. Um, a few other people at the meetup had said something that was insulting, and I responded properly. But I don't know if I looked like I was desperate. And so I kind of put aside making the move on her, and I went home and I buried my head in my art projects again. Oh, there was another upset. I had a disagreement with some of my opponents at the Computer Olympiad, which I compete at each year. They don't want to hold remote entries anymore. In their mind, COVID is done with, and the remote entries were always a big headache for them. And they pretty much told me I had to travel to Tokyo if I wanted to compete this year. And so I have other things going on, and it was just it's not the end of the world, but I wanted to hide from all of that. So, long story short, there's been a lot of upsets in other areas of my life, and I took it out on my art projects, and so I really need to actually face my problems and not hide from them, right? Whether it means speaking up for myself with the Computer Olympiad, or even traveling to Tokyo to take care of it, or making the move on the girl, or deciding that I'm not going to. Right, right now it kind of hangs midair, right, and I don't know what to do, and so. But I know this heater is going to come to an end, and history shows that heaters like that have a tendency to end very abruptly. They don't slow down and fizzle out. They usually end very abruptly, and so I'll have to think about how to brace for that impact. I often get very surprised when they end abruptly, right? Uh, right, and so this time I want to be a little bit less surprised by that. Yeah, I want to make the move on the girl, but I don't want. I guess I can kind of afford to take risks now. So that's one thing I have going for me. One thing that I suck at, and I suck badly at this, is that I can sit at home thinking about what might happen at the bar, how I'll talk to this girl, how she might respond, how might I respond to it. What if she says something insulting about my food allergies or disability? I might respond to that. What if some other person says something about my disability? How I might respond to that? What if she completely blows me off? I could prepare all of that, but as soon as I get to the bar, things fly way too fast for me to A, remember what I prepared, and B, for contingency plans when things come up that I didn't prepare for. That's one thing I want you guys to continue to pray for me by leaving a like on this video. Uh, there is one I see. I can Now that I'm recording a video, I can't remember what I prepared to say earlier. That's my downfall. That's my downfall. I guarantee tomorrow at the bar, somebody's going to say or do something that I'm going to be unprepared for. A circumstance might come up that I'm unprepared for, right? So, for example, maybe I try to order my favorite drink and they're sold out of it, and all of it's not necessarily upsetting to not have my favorite drink. The problem is that it creates interruption to the flow of the events, right? It's hard for me to explain until I'm at it. Let me give you an example. Years ago, uh, I had missed out on a job opportunity. What had happened was I was interviewing for a tutoring agency. This is agency where they match you up with students. You go to their home to tutor them, right? And it was a middle-aged woman who interviewed me. I think she was 40, 45 years old. And we had agreed to meet at a restaurant. And I made the mistake of agreeing to the restaurant, a restaurant that I was not very familiar with. And so as I'm ordering, I asked the waitress about some allergies that I have, and it turns out okay. Now the tutoring, the hiring manager got very concerned when she mentioned the allergens. She asked me, this is you know what you're applying for, right? This is a tutoring job where you'll have to go to these students' home. What are you going to do if the parents offer you food, or if the student's eating in front of you and all that? And so I was a little bit unprepared to answer that, right? I fumbled with the answer. I eventually came up with the right answer. I told him, this is a condition I've been living with for over 20 years. I think I know how to handle it. It's kind of a little bit personal. But I kind of fumbled before I came up with that answer, right? But it's good because I'm glad I missed out on that job opportunity. Let's just make a long story short. Good things turned out because I missed that job opportunity, and plus, it gave me an opportunity to ponder that question if it ever comes up again. So it was not the end of the world, but it just goes to show when questions fly a million miles per hour, I have a tendency to swerve out of control, right? It's much easier at home when I'm only driving 5 miles per hour to think of the right answers, right? All right, so pray that I come up with the wisdom to come up with the right answers when unexpected questions or circumstances come up. Pray by leaving a like on this video. This is the Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum.